Hey everybody, this is Jim at SP500chart.com. It's about 4:30 on August 28th, 2013. Before we look at the chart, I need to remind you that the website and the video are for educational purposes only, and nothing stated at the site or in the video is intended to be used as investment advice. I can draw lines on charts, but you have to draw your own conclusions from your own research and make investment decisions that are suitable for your personal financial situation. I am not a licensed financial professional. I'm just a guy who draws lines on charts. Well, it looks like today the S&P wanted to at least try to exhibit a little bit of strength, but it's not particularly impressive. We did get out over this little pattern right here, this little descending pattern that's set up yesterday, and I take that as a good sign. But what we did today just wasn't impressive. So, it's looking like we're going to come down and we're going to make another go at this support line. And again, this line is drawn from the November 2012 lows across the lows in I think it's third week of June, was it? But you see those two low spots right there in the chart. There's the November lows. There's the June lows. That's where that line has its genesis, if you will. And you can also you look at this chart and you can see just how somewhat helter-skelter things are right now. Because we've got these peaks here, this one here, this one here. What is that? And none of it really lines up with anything else. Just a real kind of a tough thing to get a feel for. I mean, we could stick a line there, but that looks a bit odd in itself. So we'll just leave that there, because those are our last two tops that were in place before we had some significant selling. And so I think that may represent a further test of the market. If the S&P is willing to get over this, then it's willing to likely come back up and get a back test on this neckline. But right now, I'll be honest with you, it's looking a bit sketchy here. Let's see if tomorrow we bounce again on this line. Let's see if the S&P has much left to it, because you can see when I look on a 30-minute chart here, this really almost looks like a little head and shoulders top. And if it is, then we're going to probably break this line tomorrow. If it's not, then we need to get some positive move really pretty much out of the gate tomorrow, or I think we may be looking at some more selling. So this line appears to still be important. Let's see if we bounce here tomorrow, or if we bounce right where we closed today. But what we've got now, this, I'm still going to call this support. And then we've got resistance. And then when I extend this line out here, we've got more resistance. So honestly, the S&P is kind of in this little nether region right here, to where if it breaks this line, then I think 1600 looks to be like a very, very safe bet. If we stay above this, then I think we'll rally back up to the 1654 area. And if the market can get over that, then likely rally on up and test this line around 1690. And but guys, this is just one of those times to where you look at this and you go, alrighty, what's the scoop? There is one potentially bullish interpretation of the past 2 days, believe it or not. and that is that we could be setting up a little pattern here, and this would be a neckline of a very small inverted head and shoulders pattern, but it's got to get up and get over this thing in a hurry, not break this, or this is just a pretty little possibility and nothing of any real importance. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make that an even lighter colored line, because until that breaks, this is nothing. But you can see we had this dip, bigger dip, and then a smaller dip. But I didn't like this second little dip that we experienced here near the end of the day. If we had ended around 1639 or so, if this had come up to that, then that would have been a much nicer looking possibility. But having sold off of this line, maybe that's a little jitters, maybe that's people being a little bit sensitive to the situation in the Middle East. I don't know. But I can tell you this, let's call this very, very short-term resistance. If the market has any strength at all tomorrow, that's going to get taken out, and that should set up a move to 1654. If, on the other hand, there's more concern about Syria and we take this turquoise line out, then I think a trip down to 1600 seems to be fairly likely. And sadly, as has been the case on a number of days over the past few weeks, we don't have any big pattern. We don't have any pattern as we look at where we've been in this little trading range for the past 2 days. We've got no pattern that says either expect 1600 or expect 1654. It's just not there. The market is kind of freewheeling in this area, and it's a difficult read, because we know that we're looking at support lines and we're seeing some support lines break. The question is, where do we find a support line that's going to hold? So anyway, I took a SPY position yesterday near the end of the day. I'm hanging on to that. If we get down to 1600, I add to it. And if we break that and the wheels start to come off, hey, I take my losses. But guys, there's your video for August 28th, 2013. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your support.